Congress is holding an unprecedented hearing. Now, look, I'm not a big fan of Congress when it comes to transparency, all right? I don't like them investigating each other, and I think they care about transparency mainly when they're working it to advantage, okay? But when it comes to UFOs, it's really about, hey, what do you know that you hear us all talking about and going down rabbit holes about, and you've decided not to discuss? And on what basis? They claim they're going to be witnesses, evidence presented, and a bipartisan effort to achieve transparency. Now, last night, the man who used to run secret military programs for the Defense Department, Christopher Mellon, made a stunning revelation to me in an exclusive NewsNation interview. If you missed it, here it is.
I've been told that we have recovered technology that did not originate on this earth by officials in the Department of Defense and by former intelligence officials.
All right, he's been told. Now, what's wrong with that? It's not empirical evidence. It's not something you can test. I mean, you can, right? I mean, you could cross-examine whoever told them the story, what the basis is. But we don't have the there. We don't have the proof, okay? And a person's account, especially as hearsay, no disrespect to Mr. Mellon, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying it's just not compelling enough, all right? But here's what's compelling enough. This situation already kind of stinks. Why? It's kind of weird that the leaders in Congress aren't part of this and don't seem to be really interested in it. Don't you think? And that NASA and the Pentagon, the Secretary of Defense, you know, the people you think would kind of matter if we were talking about our introduction to another life form would be involved. So then we have who is involved, and that's problematic also. Why? We're now learning that there may be additional witnesses at tomorrow's hearing who were afraid of being threatened by the government. Let's bring in NewsNation senior national correspondent Brian Entin. He is on this story from Jump, and he has this piece for us. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, hey, Chris. I'm looking forward to the big catch in a little while, so I'll be tuning in for that.
Good. What do you want people to know? Set this up for us.
Yeah, so basically, you remember you've interviewed Congressman Burchett a couple of times. I interviewed him about a week ago. He was very clear. I had to push him, but he was clear that there were going to be 6 witnesses. He said about half a dozen witnesses. Why are there only 3? Why only 3 now? Well, we have learned that it is possible that there could be surprise witnesses, last-minute additions. The issue is intimidation. There are witnesses associated with the government or government employees who are concerned about retaliation. They didn't want to name them initially, and it is possible that they could be added to the witness list at the last moment.
What does your spidey sense tell you about what's the there? Like, coming after you for what? For giving up the little green men? Or is this about military assets? Or is it just about control over information? What do you think is driving the paranoia and the perceived concern?
Well, look, even if you're a skeptic, even if you don't believe in UFOs, which is a lot of us, there's something going on that they're trying to keep secret. I mean, that's obvious. There's this 177-page briefing book that they've given to all the members of Congress that are going to be at the hearings tomorrow, getting ready. And it's basically a timeline that goes back 75 years to 1947 in Roswell of all these different witness accounts and news stories and everything you can think of involving UFOs forever. And it also talks about the threats that people have received. I mean, a lot of these witnesses have said, look, I came forward with my story, then I got a knock on the door from a government official saying, don't talk about this, sign an NDA, you can't talk anymore. Even if we're not talking about UFOs, there's something that they're trying to keep secret, whether it's some kind of, secret government program with weapons or a new kind of plane or whatever it is. I think it's pretty clear that there's some part of the government that doesn't like that people are looking into this.
And look, that's all they'd have to say, okay? They'd say, these videos we've explained, and here's how, blah, blah, blah. These videos are part of a different category that go into areas of research and development, our own or external, that we believe is a matter of national security we should not discuss. Okay, now I get it. Now they're not from Neptune, and it's something where you're concerned about letting perceived enemies know what you know. That's okay. What's not okay is this dead space that we've been in. And that's why I appreciate your agitation. It's not just about little green men. It's about little men running around in suits, and women too, who have decided what we get to know and don't, and they work for us, not vice versa. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of News Nation's fact-driven coverage.